Hello, everyone. My name is Ethan Frelly. I'm the lead buyer's agent for Beltran Properties Group at eXp Realty, and this is Think Positivity. Today, I have on a really cool and honored guest for me, Mayor Jason Snider of Tigard, the city that I live in. So, first of all, big thank you so much, Mayor Snider, to be here. It's a big deal for me. Thanks so much for being
I'm happy to be here and excited to talk about this. Is a great topic, so very excited about chatting with you about positivity.
Well, it's I kind of explained to you in the beginning, and I've explained it a little bit in past videos, just kind of why I have it. And it just really quickly, again, just for people who haven't heard it before, I find myself to be a very positive person. And just at the beginning of COVID and the shelter at home, it felt very very hard to get through, and I found myself going through stages of grief, which was hard to deal with as a positive person. And going through and digging deep and getting through it was tough. So I want to share the message of positivity with the positive people that are around me, because I do feel like you surround yourself with the people that you want to be with, and positive
Yep.
is very important. So
Yep. And attitude is a choice.
yes, absolutely, 100%. And that's the only person that can really control that is you too. So
Yep.
it's cool. See, we're already having a good time on it. Well, I like to start every meeting with what we're grateful for. My team starts with what we're grateful for. Today, I'm very grateful for. I've got some work going on in my house. I'm very grateful that Washington County did not shut down anything as far as for work happening inside for construction. But I'm also super grateful for the fact that we have beautiful weather today. So, what about you? What are you grateful for today?
Well, I'm definitely grateful for the beautiful weather, though there was a brief, in typical Oregon fashion, a brief downpour that was, quickly taken care of by some nice sun. So I certainly appreciate that. Every day that we get sun in Oregon, I think is nice. And I noticed that it, even helps me feel even more positive about the day. It's a little harder on the days when it's more gray. I think that's kind of natural for many humans. So I certainly find that things I'm positive for today, and grateful for, I should say, and make me feel positive. Um, I'm grateful for the fact that our community has really come together in the last few months to take care of people in need in our community, and making sure that people that need assistance can get it. I am very grateful this week for the fact that the people of Tigard have agreed that funding our police department at a level that the city council finds appropriate, and is needed to keep us safe, that passed on Tuesday. That was very exciting, and something I'm very grateful to the entire city for. I'm grateful for my own health and my family's health. Uh, I think there's lots of things to feel positive about. I'm excited that I think in the next week or two, we're going to be able to safely open Washington County and Tigard, therefore. Very optimistic about that. And on a funnier note, I'm excited to get a haircut. As you can see, it's starting to get absurd.
I had to take the road of cutting my own hair, and I've done it 3 times now. It's not that bad, although I think I messed up the cowlick, so I try not to get a back view.
Yeah, my wife offered, but I've so far resisted. I did let her like trim up all the neck hair and all that, because that was just I was looking like a gorilla.
Well, I actually felt so confident after I did my hair that I tried doing my son's, and then he ended up getting a buzz cut. So
nicely done.
The overconfidence. He
Yeah.
was the end result of that. So well, let's talk a little bit, just because we're kind of already on that subject. But how do you feel the positive mindset plays an effect on you, or on the way that you live your life?
Well, I think that we kind of talked about the fact that attitude, I firmly believe, is a choice on some level. That's not to say that people with either depression or serious mental illness, or that that's not real. But I think that there is, to some extent, some level of choice in choosing to have a positive attitude about things. And for me, I think making that choice helps me be encouraging to the teams that I lead at work,
Mhm.
encouraging to this, in my role as the mayor, keeps me more positive with my family and my kids. That's been a point, to some extent, I think for many families, and mine included, we have never been locked in a house for the better part of 24 hours a day. Two of my children didn't leave the house for 28 days uh, in March, starting in March, and so that's been a big challenge. And I didn't work from home a lot before. I worked from home some, but this is really, I think, strained people's family relationships too, just because they're not used to being near each other so much. So having a positive and joyful attitude and spirit when you're in close quarters for a long period of time, I think is helpful to your family as well.
Totally. And and it's not to necessarily say that we're ignoring the situation that's going on. It's more about just,
No,
like you said, choosing to acknowledge it, accept it, and then move on. And with this, I don't know, and with not, there is something, I hate to say it, with just a smile on your face, but I mean, like, if you're frowning and you physically change your face, it literally it changes my attitude. And I know it sounds so
yeah, well,
corny, but
and it
it
changes
does.
your. I think it changes you physiologically too. I mean, just try frowning and then try smiling, and I think on some level you feel differently.
Yeah.
And we just need. I think the other thing about this is you were kind of referencing a moment ago is acknowledging the time we're in, and what's happening and the reality. But those are also right now, a lot of that are things that are outside our control.
Hmm.
And so really focusing on the things that are within your own locus to control, I think are uh, really important, because that is what you can make a difference with. And things that are being imposed on you, circumstantially, or because of the the situation we find our society in right now, it's not helpful to dwell on all of that when you can't do anything about it.
Yes, yes. So I've stopped worrying about things that I don't have any control over. If
That's good.
right, I mean, like, if
And
somebody
yeah,
requires me to wear a mask, and it's just what it is, what it is, right? Whether I'm happy about it or not, or currently, and I'm just using that as an example. I'll wear
sure.
a mask just because I want to make sure people feel like I'm not being disrespectful, and I want to keep people safe. But something along those lines, I think that people kind of look to you as a leader of a city. And so is that tough? Is that tough to not only have a you have to keep this positive, yes, we're moving forward, but then you also have to keep this realistic, like, what is happening too. So I mean, do you ever get those complaints of, like, or what's that conversation look like? I don't know. um
It's funny. It's funny you ask. I had a conversation with a Tigard resident I've never talked to, like right before you and I started. And he had emailed in earlier today and was very upset about the county's his you know perspective that the county's been very slow to submit a reopening application, and that many of the other counties were more, at least from his perspective, more prepared. And I first of all, I think the most important thing to be a leader in any role, and I would say for sure as mayor, is to be a really good listener and seek to understand people's perspectives. It's very unusual that you find someone who is just completely illogical, or um, kind of has ulterior motives that are suspicious. I mean, that's a really rare circumstance. And so I try to approach all of those interactions with, again, with listening, seeking to understand their perspective, and then oftentimes sharing information that they maybe didn't know or didn't understand, or just weren't aware of. I mean,
Mhm.
it's I find myself in those conversations a lot. People, whether it's someone asking about, why we're paying for artwork in downtown instead of using that money to pay for a police officer, or in the last couple of weeks, even the topic of our water rates has come up, and why it was, and some community members' perspectives that it was so stupid that we decided to build our own water system with this jointly with the city of Lake Oswego, and how our rates have gone up so much. And what people don't realize in those circumstances is that keeping our rates the way they were was no longer an option. So they're sort of making a false choice in their own mind about what the choices in a certain situation are. And so I just, I try to come alongside people and help them understand from a citizen's perspective what what the reality is of the situations that the city council is facing. And I think it's easier for us to do that to some extent as city councilors and as the mayor, because we are citizens. We're not employees of the city. We don't work at the city full time. We all have jobs doing other stuff, and so it helps us be, I think, a little more in touch with and in tune with how residents feel about things. Sorry, that was a long answer, but hopefully
No,
useful.
no, I mean, I think you said a lot of good things, and I think for me, it makes me feel better that my mayor is seeking to understand when somebody calls with a complaint. That's pretty cool. Just because, I mean, that's a really good quality that I think that not a lot of leaders at least portray, of that you actually care and you want to hear what's going on. I mean, that's commendable too. Thank you.
I think it's important, really important.
Um, so, well, moving on. I mean, what positives do you see in your leadership time with Tigard? Just kind of in general, in the next couple, or in the foreseeable future.
Well, the things that with the passage of the police levy, or the public safety levy that's going to help fund our police department, I'm excited about what that's going to mean for the safety of our city, and particularly one of the points, the advanced mental health and de-escalation training for intervening in mental health crises. That's a huge thing that didn't get a ton of airtime during the levy. It got some, but what that means for the people that are in crisis, which continues to be more and more common in our community, that police are being expected to sort of act in that role. This really gives them the tools to be able to manage those situations in a much healthier and productive way, and in a way that hopefully results in everybody going home safely from a situation. So I'm excited about that. But there are so many exciting things happening in Tigard. I'm excited for the phase 2 of our Main Street Green Street project that will be north of the, depending on whether you think of it as north or east of the railroad tracks. The Main Street kind of runs in a funny direction there, so some people call it east, some people call it north. But that's exciting. I think the redevelopment we're going to see in the Tigard Triangle is extremely exciting over the next decade, and certainly we've already seen an uptick in activity and interest in the Tigard Triangle, and that's very exciting. It's just an exciting time to be in Tigard from my perspective. But I'm the
No, I
mayor,
agree.
so what else am I going to say?
Well, I mean, I agree. You know, as a resident since 2011, there's definitely been a definite change in just kind of a breath of fresh air and a vibrance in the downtown, and the city has a lot to do with it. So they're very much hats off to you guys. I also sit on the
Well,
board with TDA, so that kind of helps.
yeah,
I
I
see
was
a
going
little
to
bit of that.
say that's taken a village, and not just about the city. I mean, the Tiger Downtown Alliance, the Chamber of Commerce, the downtown business owners. I mean, that's taken everybody working together with a common purpose. And um, that's, for me, seeing that kind of partnership flourish is just really exciting, and it brings great results, as you're pointing out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but in addition to it, sorry, you keep being so humble about it. But in addition to it, the city has made it pretty advantageous for people to want to do business downtown. So I mean, I think that's a pretty neat thing that has come from that. So okay, well, and kind of last thing I wanted to ask about, and we kind of touched up about it, but is there anything specifically that you wanted to talk about that we're going to hear positive thing from the levy? I mean, obviously people sometimes think of spending money as a negative thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, what positives will we see from that?
Well, so the biggest thing that that residents will experience if they call 911 for assistance and have a high priority call is that the number of officers that are on duty at any given time in Tigard, we're increasing the minimum staffing by one officer on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's a big deal when your numbers were like 3. That's like a 25% increase in the number of officers on the road. And you know, it also that also really matters from the perspective of being able to handle more than one critical call at a time, because a single officer cannot be sent to a high priority dangerous call by themselves and enter the situation. The only time that really happens now, at least is directed through the training that our officers receive, is with an active shooter type of situation. And you know, that's not ideal, but it's been identified as kind of the best and most appropriate tactic in those circumstances. But for a typical, you know, very common domestic violence call, that unfortunately is a pretty common call in the United States and certainly in Tigard. You can't send one officer and have them enter a residence by themselves. It's just not safe. It's not safe for the officer. It's not safe for the people that are in the residence. So in any event, that is a major difference. We talked about the advanced de-escalation training and mental health crisis intervention, and then the school resource officer. So there will now be a school resource officer dedicated to the middle schools and the elementary schools in a more robust way. So
very cool. Well, awesome. Is there anything else you want to tell us about upcoming things in Tigard?
We're finalizing the budget. In fact, we have a city budget committee meeting tonight to try to finalize the budget after the levy vote. We've got some tough decisions to make regardless of the levy passing. And that's really where we prioritize what the city's spending is going to be in the next year. And so that's happening. I also would highlight that we have extended the If I Were Mayor contest for children. So anyone that wants to participate in that, I would encourage. We did not get very many entries. Okay. And I noticed that we had a lot of people participating in our coloring contests or coloring activities that had some people colored pink shoes on me and then asked me if I was going to dress like that for the next city council meeting. And so I've extended the If I Were Mayor contest to May 31st at midnight. So I hope people will encourage their children of all ages to participate.
Where can they find that?
They can find that information on the city website.
Okay, cool. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, they can find you at the city website as well.
They can, and they can also always call me on my cell phone, which I've been very frequently giving out. Some people consider it generous. I just think it's me doing my job and being accessible. So I'll give it one more time here. My cell phone number is 503-810-0269.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. I really appreciate you being on here, and thank you everybody for watching. Remember, don't forget to spread the word of positivity. Please like and share my videos. Thanks so much for watching.